Chapter 3 Vedanta. The culmination of Vedas is Vedanta. Culmination or the end is the ultimate level. The ultimate level that we need to attain, as pointed out by Vedas, is Vedanta. Vedas that taught us how to lead the righteous way of living in line with religious and social codes teach also the goal of human life. The goal of our life is what makes our life meaningful. Hence, it is our primary responsibility to understand the goal of our life. As goal is the most important part, all those books that describe the goal with explanations after explanations, Bhashya and Upabhashya is totally called Vedanta. All Upanishads explain these ultimate Vedantic truths in different dimensions. Traditionally, the last part of the Vedas is devoted to the Upanishads. What is that overall information that all these Vedanta tell us? What do they proclaim? What do they show to us as the goal? The goal shown by Vedanta is Mukti or liberation. Vedanta is nothing but the explanations given for Mukti and the ways to attain Mukti. There are countless books and persons that teach us and explain this to us. Vedanta explains about something that we need to know and attain. Vedanta describes it in such a way that whoever knows it need not know any other thing, and whoever attains it need not attain any other thing. There have been different kinds of great reincarnations of saints in each millennium. They have given explanations to this central idea, Mukti, liberation, in their own ways. Even then, there have been some traditions that have existed in explaining the ideologies of Vedanta. The scriptures that give traditional explanations are called Vedanta Shastras. All these Vedanta Shastras provide us the explanations for Mukti and show the ways to attain Mukti, liberation. What is Mukti, liberation? What do Vedanta tell us about that? They provide explanation that Mukti is nothing but getting liberated from samsara, the bondages of life. Shastras show us two levels, Mukti and samsara. They tell us that our current state is called samsara and getting liberated from this state is Mukti. Now, we can come to a clear conclusion by discriminating between Mukti and samsara. To explain this, Vedanta Shastras provide us an example. We are walking in half darkness. There is a big black snake lying on the way. We get scared of the snake and scream. Immediately, people in the neighborhood rush towards us with lamps. In the lamplight, we see that it is just a rope, not a snake. We got scared because we thought it was a snake, not a rope. We would not have got scared had we known that it was just a rope. Knowing that it is just a rope is the only way to get rid of the fear. Fear is an unwanted thing here. An unwanted phenomenon has occurred. That unwanted fear is termed as samsara, attachment. The reason behind not perceiving the rope as rope is nothing but ignorance. The unattached Atma is considered as attached due to ignorance. We get mental anxiety because we perceive the rope as a snake. Likewise, we get mental stress by not knowing our natural state as Atma and perceiving ourselves as body and mind having problems. These mental sufferings are called as samsara. Not perceiving the rope as a rope is ignorance or ajnana. Placing a load of unreal snake on a real rope is called adhyasa, seeing or mistaking one thing in the place of another. The rope is hidden because of the load placed like this. This hiding is called avarana, concealing. What we get because of this is sadness or anxiety. The state of these Ajnana, Avarana, Adhyasa and sadness put together is called Samsara or bondage. Getting liberated from this Samsara is Mukti, liberation. Through the Jnana, enlightenment that happens by knowing the rope as a rope, we get rid of the snake-related anxiety. Similarly, by knowing Atma as the real nature of Jiva, individual self, we resolve all our anxieties. This is nothing but Mukti. We perceive ourselves as Jiva, individual personality, like perceiving the rope as a snake. Snake is unreal, the rope alone is real. Jiva is unreal, Atma alone is real. The real nature of ourselves is Atma. The unreal nature of ourselves is Jiva. Snake and rope are two different things. There should be some reason behind perceiving the rope as a snake. We would not think like that without any reason. Similarly, there should be appropriate reasons behind perceiving Atma as Jiva. Jiva is the identification of the Atma with the body and mind. Here, a review on why we perceive like that and how to get rid of that becomes necessary. Shastras explain these in different degrees. What is Jiva? What is Atma? Who is God? What is the connection between God and Jiva? How did this universe evolve? How did this Jiva acquire ignorance and attachment? How can Jiva get rid of the ignorance and attachment? Vedanta Shastras provide explanations like this by dividing into different layers. What do the Shastras tell about these? Innumerable explanations, innumerable scriptures. You should be taking many births to read all those scriptures. But we are going to see only the essence of these scriptures. For those who want to study these in detail, it is better to study the other related supplementary Vedanta Shastra scriptures. Vedanta Shastras explain these in their own unique terms. We have been using some of these terms in our day-to-day life. Many terms are new ones that we do not use. Hence, we can study Shastras formally only when we learn all those terms. We are going to learn those terms also. As those terms are not familiar to us, it is better to read the related parts once again. Do we have the qualification to read and understand these Shastras? Shastras also tell us about the qualification that is required to learn them. That itself is a separate Shastra. Shastras tell us that we should review our qualifications also before reviewing the Shastras. Should we not know about that? Yes, we should know about that. But we are not going to explain that in the beginning itself. We are going to see that in the relevant part. Now, by trusting that we have the qualification to learn Shastras, let us understand systematically what Shastras tell us about the absolute reality. Let us first see how Shastras approach the question, who am I?